Everybody, welcome to week 6. Week 6, you are almost done. That's exciting. Now we have a lot more ground to cover. We're going to be talking about browsers this week. Next week, we're going to be doing PowerPoint, and then there's that last half week, that 7.5, and we'll talk more about that when we get a little closer. But you're near the end. That finish line is there. You can see it. You just need to make that mad dash to it. You can do that. Now, the other thing I would say is this: it's a stressful time. You got a lot of stuff on your plate. You're really dealing with a lot of different things. Many of you with family obligations and with work and with school, it can seem overwhelming. So what I'm going to say may seem way out there, but it's definitely something I would recommend, and that is you got to do something for yourself, even if it's a little bit of time when the kids go to bed, before they get up, if the in-laws can watch, or you get a little bit of a break or something like that. You need to do something for you. That's good for your mental health, good for your physical health as well. In fact, you can't really see it, but I'm pretty disgusting now, and I smell even worse because I just got back from mountain biking, and it was awesome. It was exhausting. I was soaking wet and bugs everywhere, but you know what? It was totally worth it, and I really needed it because I work a lot. I work late at night. I work early in the mornings. I work on the weekends for you guys, doing this work, teaching, but I need to get away as well. In fact, I'm looking at my watch right now. If I have time, I'm going to try to go out and do some fly fishing this afternoon. But I need to do this kind of thing. I need to get away for a little bit, and you need to as well. So if you can kind of, pull yourself away from a computer for a while, do something, unplug a little bit, definitely do that. It's really good for you, and that's going to give you the energy you need to get to that finish line. So I want to encourage you, do something for yourself. Even with your kids, go out with your kids, go to the local pool or go to the local beach or whatever, but do something that's not school or work related. You really, really need that if you can do that. So anyway, that's my encouragement. That's my pep talk for the week. What is it that we're actually going to be talking about this week? This is a great week. It's one of my favorites. This is the week we talk about internet browsers. So what is an internet browser? That's that magical doorway to the land of the internet, right? Not exactly. We'll talk a lot about browsers. I'm going to have another video all about kind of comparing browsers and what they do. But any conversation of browsers is incomplete if we don't first talk about what the internet is. And this is one of the things that we use so often, we don't stop and think about what it is. So what is the internet? This is this thing that we use constantly. We're plugged in all the time. The internet is not some sort of magical realm out there in the ether that we connect with, and it's like Narnia, or it's like, no, it's nothing like that. The internet is something far more mundane. And the internet really is different first from the web. So there's the World Wide Web and there's the internet. The internet is, as you can guess, interconnected networks. Now in the lecture, they talk a lot about this. There's some really cool videos about the history of the internet. This is something that's been around since the 50s and 60s. This was born out of this desire out of the Department of Defense to have an ability or the opportunity for computers to talk to each other. If the worst of worst situations took place and we went to war with the Soviet Union, which was a fear, and you could not, go on the streets, and you could not make phone calls or something like that, you could still have computer mainframes in different areas of the countries that could correspond and talk, different networks that were interconnected. And that's where it started. And from there, it just grew and grew and grew and blossomed into what we have now, which is millions and millions and millions and millions of networks that are interconnected. Now, you're on a network right now, maybe at home, maybe at the local library, maybe at your local Starbucks. You're on a local area network of some sort, and you are communicating with my network through a variety of other networks to be able to watch this video, right? YouTube through Google, because YouTube's owned by Google and they have the network. That's what the internet is. It's all of that hardware and the software that makes it run. But that hardware is the internet. This is cell towers. This is the router and modem at your house. This is the interesting thing. Tens of thousands of miles of cable that are spread all over the world, including the bottoms of all the oceans. Yes, that's what makes the internet possible. That's how you can then watch a video that some guy created in Turkey and put up on YouTube, right? Because of this structure of the internet. This is cell towers, this is satellites, this is routing stations, all sorts of stuff that makes up the internet, all right? That allows networks to connect to correspond. Now, the World Wide Web is what sits on this. This is basically all the websites that we can interact with. These are put in a media, and that is a code that is translated by the browser that we can then experience, right? This is Facebook, this is Snapchat, this is YouTube, this is Google search engine, this is your own personal blog, this is Blackboard, this is the Brian Stratton College website, this is your church's website. This is right. That's the World Wide Web. This is one of those things that's growing constantly with more and more web pages and websites being added pretty much every minute, right? Growing and growing, growing, but that's what sits on the internet. So right now, we are on the World Wide Web, corresponding with each other, but only because there is an internet on which it sits. Now, how do we actually view all those crazy cat videos that we see on YouTube, right? Or all those GIFs of people, tripping and falling, or whatever it is that we watch on Facebook? Well, we have a browser that will translate that because it's code, all right? So we'll talk a little bit more about this when I get into my video on browsers, but that is kind of a very broad foundation for everything that we're going to be talking about this week, okay? What is the internet? What is the World Wide Web? And how do we correspond and interact with all the stuff on the World Wide Web? Those are browsers, okay? So watch the videos in the lecture, go through all the different lessons. It's a very, very, very informative lecture this week. So I highly recommend that you really get into it, maybe go through things a couple times. You'll really get a lot out of it. We're going to be doing an exercise, kind of a fun one. That is the last thing we're going to do with Excel, and this is going to be something on charts and graphs, and you'll like this one. It's pretty straightforward, it's pretty easy, but it challenges you to do something in Excel that maybe you've never done before, which is creating charts and graphs. I like this one. This is one of my favorite exercises for this class. There's going to be a reflection as well on browsers, and then of course there's going to be the discussion board, which is going to be on browsers as well, and it's going to be challenging you to think differently about the different kinds of browsers you use and why you use them. I'm also going to put another, as I have been doing, as has been my habit, I'm going to put another discussion thread into the discussion board this week. And this one's going to be internet related as well. It's going to probably focus more, since we talked about Facebook before, this is going to focus more on internet safety and security. And it's going to deal with topics related to that. How do you keep yourself safe? How do you keep your kids safe? Is it all about malware protection, or is there more that you have to keep in mind? So that's something that I'd like you to keep in mind as well. Remember, any kind of post you make in that thread will count for your overall post count for the week. I'm looking forward to everything that you bring to the table this week, folks. Again, this is a really interesting week. This is one of my favorites. There's a lot of cool stuff, a lot of interesting conversations that we can have, and I'm looking forward to all of it. Let me know if you have questions. You know how to get a hold of me. You can email me. You can call or text 585-433-5871. Looking forward to hearing what you have this week. And if you have any questions, reach out. Thanks, folks.